Hello, everybody. This is Douglas Auclair, owner of the company Logical Graphs. I'm known online as Joff. And in today's session, we're going to talk about turning gold, or PAXG, into more gold using the Kujira blockchain, particularly the protocols ORCA and the MantaDAO swap. All right, so gold is interesting because the US dollar suffers from the inflationary problem that more dollars are being printed. So the value of dollar is decreasing over time. However, gold versus the dollar is increasing over time, and that's a pretty continuous line. So it is desirable for me as an investor to hold gold because it just simply increases value versus the dollar over time. It's an inflationary hedge. There's not a lot that you can do with gold on any blockchain that I know of. So trading gold is not favorable. Staking gold isn't a thing. There is some interest that you can gain from Ghost, but it's very small. So you just sit there and hold gold. That's all very interesting, I'm sure, except for the fact that it's boring. So there is a place where you can use gold to purchase liquidated assets, and that's on Kujira's ORCA. And when you do that and you purchase liquidated assets, say at a 20% discount, then my strategy is to purchase those liquidated assets and then turn right around, swap those liquidated assets back to gold, and you've gained a small percentage over the gold that you held originally. Now, if you do that with gold lent to Ghost, that means gold lent to Ghost is earning interest in the lending mechanism on Ghost. And then when the liquidation hits, so if the liquidation does not hit, you're earning interest on lending the gold to Ghost. When the liquidation does hit, then the power of your collateral is much stronger due to the interest gained over time. And you're getting those liquidated assets, which my strategy is switch back to gold and then relend to Ghost and then rebid on ORCA, creating a continuous circle of gaining asset value over time for gold. Let's see how that works in practice. All right. So I had placed a bid for using gold to a bid on liquidated Kuji, and that bid hit. How much gold did I use as collateral to purchase this liquidated Kuji? And that's why records are important here, folks, because the one disadvantage I see, or a major disadvantage that I see with ORCA, is I do not see how much collateral I spent in order to claim the liquidated assets. Let's double check that very quickly. So if we look at the transaction, we go here and the finder isn't telling me what the transactions are doing going on here, even though I put comments in each of my transactions. So that's a disadvantage for the finder. So it says claim liquidation. So I claim 21.9 Kuji, but it doesn't tell me anywhere here how much gold I used to claim that liquidated Kuji. My request then to the team Kujira is that you include in the transaction how much gold was used to buy that liquidated asset, or how much collateral was used to buy that liquidated asset, because I don't see it here in the transaction. So what I do have to do, and what I recommend you do, to keep good records is that I have a spreadsheet of the liquidations I'm bidding, and I'd say here that I'm bidding 0.0226 gold. 0.0226 gold lent to Ghost in order to bid on liquidated Kuji in this particular case. And so I go and I record that. Let's go back to that prior spreadsheet here. Let's go back to that prior spreadsheet, which is under ORCA. No, FBES. Record this amount. So what I do is I record every one of my transactions in Kujira. And so I say that I used this much gold lent to Ghost, which I'm not recording here. I'm just recording it as gold. And this is how much XG PAXG that I'm actually interacting with. And this is the market price of XG PAXG. And so that means I'm purchasing, and that's how I get my information. So I then can compute the purchase price of Kuji. So Kuji's price currently traded is $1.59 or $1.60. And I bought the liquidated Kuji at $1.20 per. Excellent. And so now I have the liquidated Kuji. What I do from there is, if you look at the fin marketplaces, the gold marketplaces do not have a Kuji to gold board. Maybe they should have, but they don't. So I go over to the Manta DAO, and I take the amount of gold Kuji that I claimed, which after commission is this much. 21.9. And I place a bid for gold, and it says I'm going to get back 1.45, which is pretty awesome because I spent, I'm sorry, 0.0145, which is awesome because I used 0.011 gold as collateral. So I'm changing 0.011 gold lent to Ghost to 0.0145 gold, but not lent to Ghost. Well, how much is that in gold lent to Ghost? If we look here and we put this number in, we see that it's 0.014. So I've gained 3/1000ths of gold. Well, I mean, 3/1000ths of gold isn't much. It is approximately, if gold is trading at $2,800, that's 220 times 3. So that's about $6 to gain. But that's a $6 gain on approximately, if we look at the transaction amount, on approximately $26 of gold spent, I'm making $6 on top of that. So that's a pretty good return on my investment of gold. Much better than just simply keeping gold in Ghost, because if I simply kept gold in Ghost, I'm earning 0.8% APR on that. That's better than absolutely nothing, but it needs help. And so this is how you become a leprechaun. You bid with gold, lent to Ghost in a marketplace that supports it. So the total collateral for Kuji on the gold marketplace is 23,000. So yes, that's a marketplace that supports it. Let's look at all the marketplaces for gold. There's Kuji, there's Axel USDC, and there's USK. Let's see how much market share that they have. Absolutely nothing for Axel USDC. So not interested in going into that marketplace. Absolutely nothing for USK. So the place where the marketplace exists for using gold as collateral to bid on liquidated assets is for Kuji. And you see that there's not much here. There's somebody who has a bid at 10%, and then there's me who has a bid at 20%. And you saw that my bid for 20% hitting me 22 Kuji out of $26 of gold used as collateral. Okay, so now I claimed my 22 Kuji, which is 21.9 after the commission fees. Let's swap that out for back to gold, because what I want to do is I want to grow my gold bag by using liquidated assets by using the gold as collateral to purchase liquidated assets, and then using the liquidated assets at their market price to purchase back the gold. So let's purchase back the gold. Okay, have this much. Let's mark this as a trade. Fuji is trading at $1.59 per. I'm trading 21.9 Kuji for E. I'm going to get this much PAXG. And it says it's $33 worth from a $26 investment. So that's pretty cool. And fees unknown at present. Right, so let's make the trade. Now record the transaction. I actually get back this swap to Manta, swap to USDC, swap to an estimated amount of that amount of GPAXG. That's not really telling me exactly how much, so let's lend all my gold, which I had none in my wallet, to Ghost. Do a refresh on Ghost. Let's lend. And we get this much gold. And so there's a slippage in the trade at Manta. Coin fee. Didn't record that. So let's record that coin fee. All right. So I got this is 0.0145 gold back from 0.011 gold traded, which is a nearly 30% gain. All right, so I lent my gold to Ghost. And so how do I grow my gold bag? How do I become a leprechaun? I place my gold that I've lent to Ghost as a bid for Kuji, of which there's 23K available in possible liquidations. Now, if it gets liquidated, great, I make money in the liquidation differential between the market price of the Kuji versus the price that I bought it at liquidation. If it doesn't get liquidated, great. I'm still earning interest on the liquidated on the gold that I got. Sorry. Traded the gold. Let's make sure I did the transaction here. I didn't. So let's do that transaction. You see the price of Kuji has fallen from $1.82 to $1.66 to $1.59. So Kuji's price is going down, down, down. But because I bought liquidated Kuji at a 20% premium, I am still making a 30% gain on the transaction of using gold as collateral, buying the liquidated Kuji, swapping that liquidated Kuji back to gold. So that's awesome that even though Kuji's price is falling, I am making money in that transaction. So gold's price is currently $65. Again, I bid $26 worth of gold. I'm getting back I'm purchasing back $33 worth of gold from that liquidated Kuji. Okay, so now I have the gold, and that is lent to Ghost, and you see it recorded here. So what I do now is I go to Orca. And I do another bid. I have this much gold lent to Ghost, and so I bid it all. You see the bid activates immediately, even though it says you have to wait 2 minutes, it activates immediately. And so I have 0.026 gold that I'm bidding on Orca. Let's look at my Ethbeth portfolio. I had 0.022 gold that I was bidding on Orca before. So I've grown by 0.004. And so this right here, worth $55 before. I'll have to update this correctly here with the prices for gold. So let's undo that change. Change it here. I'm gonna have to alter the spreadsheet. I'll do that later. But 0.024 X PAXG trading at a price of 475.18 is equal to $59. Okay, so that's the cycle of growing your bag using liquidated assets. You either lend your assets to Ghost, or you bid them directly on Orca. When the liquidation hits, you claim the liquidation, swap the liquidated assets back to your source asset, the bag that you're growing, lend it back to Ghost, and then rebid on Orca. If the bid hits, if a liquidation bid hits on Orca, great. You're getting a 20% in this case premium, which you then apply by rebuying back your asset, gold in this case, and growing your bag. If the liquidation doesn't hit, then the mechanism of lending your asset on Ghost grows your asset by however much amount your APR is. In this case, the APRs aren't much. They're pretty low nowadays. They could go up to 40%, 100%, depending on the need for the asset. Currently, they're at a much more humble rates than they were before. Where the highest lending rate is 70% for Atom, 7% for USDC, and the other stables are comparable. But those can fluctuate upwards very quickly and stay up there for a while. I've seen 40% for a while on some of these lent asset rates. Okay, and that's how you grow your asset. You activate your asset by, instead of simply holding it, you lend it to Ghost, then you bid with the lent asset on Orca. When the liquidation hits, you swap the liquidated claimed asset back to your source asset and grow your bag that way. Thank you.